Battlefield 2042's brand new map in Flashpoint has absolutely nailed the feeling of a Battlefield map. It's so much fun, and today I wanted to do a proper review on the map, since obviously I did touch on it a little bit in my update review, but every now and then there is a piece of content that is actually worth discussing a little bit more in detail, and I feel like this is one of those maps. So without wasting any time, let's get stuck right into it. Now, I mentioned this in my update review, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think this is already the best map in the game, which is pretty funny because I've literally said that about all 4 of the new maps now. When they added Exposure, I said that was already the best map in the game. When they added Stranded, I said that was the best map in the game. When they added Spearhead, I said that was the best map in the game. And now that they've added Flashpoint, I personally think this is the best map in the game. So they are constantly just improving with every new map, which is really, really good to see, especially after obviously all the base maps were not that well designed, if I'm honest. And it's good to see that they've kind of like redeemed themselves in terms of just proving that they can still design really, really solid maps. Now, I think the best part about Flashpoint is that it kind of has something for everyone. Obviously, the majority of the map is what you'd probably consider to be like close quarters. There's a lot of little meat grinder areas. There's a little underground tunnels and close quarters buildings, and it is a very, very close quarters map compared to pretty much every other map in the game. But it isn't just a close quarters map. It's not like Operation Locker or Operation Underground, where it is just purely, you know, shotgun chaos. It's not just like that. There is actually plenty of different ranges of engagement as well. You can genuinely do very well with an assault rifle or an LMG. At that sort of mid-range, you can do very well with the sniper. You can run around with an SMG or a shotgun. There really is just something for every single different type of playstyle. And even for vehicles, like I said in the update review, vehicles can do really well on it too, but they're also not dominant to the point where they're just taking over maps now. To be fair, I think some of the choppers in this game are just absolutely cooked, and they need to be pretty much deleted in my opinion. But outside of the choppers, in terms of tanks and stuff, tanks can do really well, but they also do need to be careful, because you can find some really good little hidey holes, and when one's going past, you can chuck some C5 on it and blow it up. So it just feels really balanced in terms of pretty much allowing every different type of playstyle. I was up until nearly 3 AM on the night of the update. I played as a bunch of different specialists. I played with pretty much every different type of weapon class, and I was able to do fairly well with all of them, which generally on most maps I'm not able to do that. I'm either able to do really well with the sniper, but I can't do well with an SMG, for example, or vice versa. But on this map, it does feel like you can really just target different areas of the map depending on how you want to play. And I think that's a big part of not only why it's a really good map, but why I think people are going to really enjoy it, because it just has something for everyone, which not every other map in the game can really say the same thing. The other thing that I really like about it is that I don't know what it actually is, but it really does feel like a Battlefield map. I'll say about all the base maps and pretty much even the seasonal maps too, despite those ones being really good. I don't know what it is, but some of them don't really feel like Battlefield maps, whereas this one does feel a little bit like nostalgic. It almost feels like I'm playing on a map that could have been in Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3. It just kind of feels like one of those maps. Whether that's maybe just to do with the size of it, I'm not too sure, but it just feels almost a little bit nostalgic, which is a really weird thing to say, because obviously we've literally just gotten it this week. So I'm not sure why it feels that way. I can't really put my finger on what makes it feel that way, but for me, I definitely do get that like classic Battlefield type of map feeling from the new map Flashpoint. Now, I think this map really sort of paves the way for how Battlefield maps should be made, not just in this game, depending on whether they continue on after Season 5 or not, but also in their next installment. I think they lost a lot of trust with all of the base maps in 2042. I think all of those maps are genuinely terrible. The exception maybe being Orbital, and that wasn't like amazing, it was just better than the rest essentially. So they lost a lot of trust there, and for me personally, map design is arguably the single most important element of a good shooter. Doesn't matter how fluid and how, you know, solid your game is, if the maps suck, it just won't be fun. That's just how it is for me personally. And so map design is a really, really important element. And like I said, they lost a bit of trust with the launch of this game, but I think they have slowly started to sort of earn that back. And I think that this map should really pave the way for how future maps are made, where they are trying to allow for every different type of playstyle. I think that's when a map is going to be at its best, when every single person who's playing on that map can have fun regardless of whether they like sniping, whether they like running around with a shotgun, or anything in between. Obviously, certain maps every now and then are going to be a bit more niche. You're going to have those metro or locker type of maps where it's just absolute chaos and full-on meat grinder, and that's fine. I think every now and then that's a little bit different, but for 90% of your maps, I do think you need to have a little bit of something for everyone, and I hope that they look at how they design this map and sort of take those things into account when they're making future maps, like I said, not just for this game, but also in whatever their next game is going to be, because I do not want the next game launching with absolutely arse maps like 2042 had, because it really did kind of suck the enjoyment out of the game for the first essentially year until we actually got some proper content. Now, quickly before we finish, there is also a teaser for the next map, which we're obviously getting in Season 5. I'm sure most of you guys have seen this already, but for those who haven't, this is a little teaser that they showed on Twitter, and it was in all of the stuff for the update for Season 4. It's obviously hard to tell how the map is going to play from just looking at a concept art image, but what I will say is the look of the map in terms of the aesthetic, it looks absolutely awesome. The only real negative thing I have to say about Flashpoint is that it is very boring. It's just essentially desert or buildings. There is nothing in between. There's like no greenery, there's no vibrancy to it or anything like that. It is just very, very bland, whereas this teaser is pretty much the complete opposite. And not only is it fairly colorful, but it's just unique looking too. It just looks very different from everything else in the game. And so I'm definitely keen to learn more about the Season 5 map, which I'm sure they will be filling us in on throughout Season 4, because they are actually starting to properly communicate about the game, which is definitely very nice to see after a very long time with pretty much no communication whatsoever. I'm keen to hear what you guys think of Flashpoint though, whether you agree with me that personally I think it's the best map in the game, or whether you think I'm delusional. Definitely let me know down in the comments section. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.